It's the Billy Graham Boxing Podcast, the Preacher's Sermons.
Right, welcome to the latest episode of Billy Graham's Boxing Podcast. I'm John Evans and we're here in grey, dull, wet, damp, miserable Mosley with Billy Graham. How are you, Billy?
Yeah, I'm good. I've just been feeding the birds again this morning.
You might have to put your voice towards a microphone.
Right.
You what? How are you doing?
I've been feeding the birds this morning, the pheasants and all the birds and the squirrels and that.
Yeah, pheasants wandering around outside before I noticed.
And squirrels and jays and all kinds of birds. Okay.
Oh, do you know what we should tell people? The first ever Billy Graham's Boxing Podcast, we had the kestrel on the table in front of us.
Oh yeah.
Give people an update on what happened to the kestrel that was living in your living room for a while.
Oh, that could take quite some time. I had to give it some serious thought. I had the kestrel. It was doing great when I had it in the house, but I couldn't cope with Gary Thornton's going to kill me when he sees me. That's why I've not spoke to him. But when I put it in the aviary and that, I wasn't enjoying it. I won't enjoy keeping it in the aviary all the time. It was desperate. I could see it wasn't happy and stuff. And but top and bottom is I let it go. I had to give it a lot of thought. But in the end, I made the decision, and I think it was the right decision because I've seen it plenty of times.
Oh, you've got a homing kestrel, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I've not seen it for a while actually, but I didn't see it for like 12 days when I let her go. But then she started coming back, and I've seen her plenty of times, and I've left chicks and mice out for it, and they've gone on that. I've not seen it for a while yet, but I've seen it on a regular basis over time. Yeah. I think so. I think I did the right thing. The bird surviving, and that's what I did. But I'll give it a lot of thought. But I think I've done the right thing because the bird surviving.
And you've got less shit in the house.
I know, but I really miss her. I really miss her. I really enjoyed the times when she was in the house shitting all over the place. But
I got Billy some Muhammad Ali shorts framed. I'm looking at them now. You might have seen them on a couple of the early videos. And a couple of times I'd come round and my kestrel had been flying around the conservatory and shat all over Muhammad Ali's shorts.
Oh, I know. She used to like sitting on the top of the Ali shorts. I'm not really she's a fan and all that, but so there was often loads of shit on there and that. But I sometimes find the odd bit of shit lying around now when I get a bit nostalgic. You know what I mean? I really miss her sat on my shoulder and that, but I was scared about letting her go because I thought she might not survive. But I give it a lot of thought. And when the young birds leave the nest at about 6 weeks old, and the strong live in the weak, the strong die in the weak.
Strong survive.
The strong survive in the weak go by the wayside. So I think she had more chance of us than a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've seen her loads of times, so she's obviously doing all right.
Right. It's Billy Graham's Boxing Podcast. We best talk about some boxing, Billy. And this weekend it's one of the rarest sights in boxing. We've got two unbeaten, popular heavyweights with knockout power fighting. We've got Denzel Dubois against Joyce. Been talking about this fight for coming up to a year now. What are your initial thoughts on this? I can't think of many better fights in Britain this year.
I am really excited about this fight. I like both guys. I've seen all the fights, both guys, and I've seen Joyce in the amateurs as well. I'm really excited about this fight. I can't wait, to be honest with you. I think there's no way it could not be a great fight. Yeah. However long or short it goes, there's a couple of ways it could go. I tell you what, though, I've got a lot of good judges and fighters, ex-fighters and things like that who've been around Joyce. There's a lot of them who are picking Joyce to win. I think possibly more than they're picking Denzel Dubois. Yeah. I don't know. Now, I've not been fortunate enough to be around him, but they talk about this wicked engine what he's got, and this incredible chin. Well, I think he's going to kind of need both in this fight. I think his chin's going to be tested pretty early, because what I do see, I think it's going to be a great fight. What I do see is I see a lot of gaps, a big target in Joyce, especially around the midsection and the middle. Most importantly, he has his left hand quite high, and I don't think he can make many adjustments to be fighting that way a long time. He's kind of begging for a right hand under the heart. I'm not just going about. I think he should do throw a lot of body punches. I don't mean close as a body punches. That I mean well placed singles to vital areas.
Yeah, you're talking about Dubois here, aren't you?
I'm talking about Dubois and Joyce. Joyce he exposes his midsection quite a lot, but more, especially the middle, which is a delicate place. If I was with Dubois, I'd be coaching to capitalise on that in order to get the headshots. The big worry, look at that squirrel. The big worry for Dubois and what they're talking about is like him running out of gas, in a long fight. I think, and that could possibly happen if it is a long fight. But I think if Dubois goes to the body first, straightens him up and backs him up, I think it'll give him more chance of getting a clean headshot. And I don't care how granite your chin is, I'd be very surprised if he could hold them shots. If he could take them shots. It would be interesting to see him take Dubois into the later rounds. Maybe I'd like that because it answer some questions. But I think if I was training Dubois, I'd like to get him out of there quick, to be honest with you.
I was going to say, it's such an intriguing fight that each man's weakness is the other man's strength. So you've got Dubois, hits like a train, doesn't he? But we've never seen him in a grueler. You've got Joyce, fantastic chin, and a grueler is his territory, isn't it? So what one man we're seeing as his potential weakness is the other man's strength. So whoever wins is going to have answered a massive question about themselves.
Yeah, that's about right. That that's what makes it so interesting and quite daring of both the fighters to take this fight. I think especially Joyce, because Joyce is the older man. Like I said, the loser is, it's not like he's got nowhere to go. You know what I mean? But obviously, a 22-year-old kid and a 35-year-old, When I first spoke about Dubois a few years ago, and that I talked about how good I think he was and how quick he was coming up. And my only worry was his age and being a little bit young, and that still is a little bit of a worry. But I think both guys deserve a pat on the back. And the promoters deserve a pat on the back as well. Frank deserves a pat on the back for putting them both together and giving the fans what they want. So it is one of them fights. So you're asking me to pick a winner?
Not yet. He's Daniel's I spoke to Daniel before every fight and in between since his debut, and he's the most unusual, and I mean that in a good way, fighter I've ever come across. For someone who's got such potential, and if heavyweight's a different thing, isn't it? If Daniel Dubois blitzes through Joyce, he's made for life. He's a legitimate, going to become a sporting superstar, isn't he? He's the next British fighter to follow in the line, and the heavyweight champion of the world has more say and more kudos than anything, doesn't it? But Daniel is the exact same person he was before his debut. 3 or 4 years ago now? He's not changed. He's maybe a little bit happier to talk, and
he talks a lot more.
He'll give you a little bit more time, but his actual personality hasn't altered at all. He's got nothing else he wants to do in his life except become the heavyweight champion of the world. It's I've rarely met someone who's got so much in front of them, could achieve so much, the riches and the fame and everything. Dubois could achieve a staggering, but that doesn't matter to him. All he's interested about is becoming the heavyweight champion of the world.
Well, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice to hear. That's how he seems to come across. But like I say, he is a little bit young. But I'm going to stick my neck out there. I think he'll knock Joyce out.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if I had to bet, I think, and if I like both guys, to be honest with you. If I had to pick whose corner was going to be in,
I was going to say if as a trainer, if you're 10 days out from the fight. Oh, sorry, we're recording this 10 days out from the fight, but you're into fight week now. Whose corner would you like to be in?
I'd feel. Look, I'm scared before all fights, even though I'm confident before fights. But I'd feel at this stage of the game. I think I'd feel a lot comfortable in Dubois' corner. I'd feel a little bit uneasy being in Joyce's corner, to be honest with you.
Is there any box you would have liked Dubois to have ticked before getting to this Joyce fight? Is there anything you've not seen which you would like to have seen? Or are you confident that everything you've not seen yet, he will put a big tick next to in this fight, he's capable of doing it?
It could possibly happen in this fight. I think the only box I need ticking about him is seeing him in a long, gruelling fight.
Yeah.
Because I don't know any more than anybody else because I haven't seen it. Everything I've seen about him, I've liked. I've watched him improve. Definitely, it comes out of you. He's certainly improving. What did you ask me?
So is there anything he's not put a big tick next to yet, which you would have liked to have seen him do?
The long grueling fight. But that's the same for any fighter who's knocking a lot of people out. You always have to see that. I've got no reason to really think that there's anything wrong with the Dubois engine.
No.
He's a real dedicated fighter, so I believe. And why doubt why is this? Everybody saying he's certainly going to run out of gas. He's the younger guy. Unless, listen, anybody can run out of gas if you fight a stupid fight and punch yourself out. Yeah. You see so many people punch themselves out. Punchers try to finish people when they could take the time and finish them more clean and clinical, but using less energy. But I've seen him get better.
Maybe that's where the age might come into it, Billy. Maybe if he gets Joyce hurt in the first, which isn't out of a question whatsoever.
Certainly not.
That age and that lack of experience and that enthusiasm might lead to him just emptying the tank a little bit. He doesn't seem like that to me. He seems quite level-headed. But maybe that's where the lack of experience will show up. Rather than he's not had a 10-round grueler, maybe it might just be the mental attitude in trying to get it over and done with quick and punching himself out.
Every single fighter who likes to come forward and throw heavy shots, people who like to finish people, aggressive fighters, they've all got to learn that. And it seems to me that they have to actually physically learn it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the main things what you see with a puncher, an aggressive puncher, is that when he tags somebody, he'll fly at him and just start emptying loads of heavy shots on him, whether they're hitting or not. It seems like they have to learn it the hard way, when it shouldn't be like that, really. You know what I mean? I think him and Martin, they must have, obviously they know that, you know what I mean? So I'm sure they've worked on that. It's sometimes it's better you've got to show a bit of urgency when you hurt somebody, but that is the time when you've got patience. That is the time when you can take that second or so to steady yourself to pick the shot, because the guy's hurt. So you don't have to really rush and saturate him. Do you know what I mean? Because he's swaying around, he's hurt, his head isn't clear. So you've got that little bit more time. Jump on him quick, yeah, but going on him, picking shots. Do you know what I mean? Setting him up, picking shots while the guy's in a bit of trouble. That's my only fear. That is my only fear, that he'll catch him, empty the tank. Because look, I'd like Dubois to win because I've been backing Dubois since I've seen him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So obviously, I want the guy to win, and that is my only fear. That's my only fear, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen people saying he'll fall apart late with no evidence to suggest that. I've also seen people saying his chin's going to get tested, and will his chin stand up to it? I think we have seen proof that he's got a chin.
I've seen him get hit. I've seen him get hit hard.
Well, he got hit hard, but it wasn't just the fact that he stayed on his feet when he got hit hard that impressed me. It was the way he reacted. He didn't have any fear about his chin,
No.
did he? He squared up, he planted his feet, and he swung and exchanged. I know Amir Khan used to get involved, but I think with Amir it was bravery and pride coming into play a bit. With Dubois, he just looked like he didn't have a concern. You know, he took a shot and said, right, come on, I'm going to give it you back, and wasn't afraid of swinging.
You're talking about the African guy with a blonde beard, aren't
Yeah,
you?
Larty.
Yeah, I remember that as well. Now, I think in that fight, I know what you're saying. I think he might have learned in that fight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it was like a slugfest for a little bit. They was both just stood there exchanging shots.
But that's not the actions of somebody who's worried about the chin, is it?
No, he's not. Oh, he's not going to be worried about anything. He's not going to be worried about anything like that. I think for Joe Joyce to beat him, I think Joe Joyce has got to exhaust him. He's got. I think he's got. He's got to like. I'd see Joe Joyce winning if he does waste a lot of shots and runs out of energy, and close to exhaustion. I can see that happening, but I don't think it will.
Yeah.
I don't think it will. I think he's learned enough to know that he can't just throw bombs willy-nilly, you know what I mean? I think he's just got to pick the target, and I think when he finds the target, I think it'll be all over, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, Joyce he's a big lump, and he's got a good engine, and he has got a good chin. And look, he's got great amateur experience, what Dubois hasn't. And I'm quite big on the amateur experience.
Yeah, 7 senior amateur bouts Dubois had.
Yeah. And Joyce has done everything in the amateurs, you know what I mean?
And we sparred together when we were both amateurs. Dubois was obviously nothing like he is now.
Fucking hell, he's only a kid now, so I thought he had short pants on then, you know what I mean? Joe Joyce, he might be a little bit misleading. I hear quite good things about him, but you've got to tell the truth. He's not the best. He's certainly not an elegant. He's not the best mover. I think a lot of his punches are arm shots. I mean, I think there's a bit of meat in him because he's such a big, strong guy. But I think a lot of the stuff doesn't. He doesn't throw a lot of punches correctly. I don't think he's got great leverages, and I just think there's enough gaps in his defence that Dubois will land, and I don't really care how granite your chin is. I think he'll take him out.
Good, right. So just before we move on, just give people listening to this a couple of little things to watch out for. What like 2 things of each fighter got to achieve in the fight? What are the key things they've got to get done in order to win? So if Daniel's going to win, what are the probably two things that he's got to get right?
Well, he's got to be aware that even though I don't think so, that it could go 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Like we've just talked about that, and picking his shots. To be honest with you, I'm getting in the right position, picking his shots. I mean, look, Joyce is there. He's there. You don't have to go looking for him. I think I do think I'd like to. I think it becomes less effective when he's on the back foot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you and the key to that is straight shots under the heart, straight shots to the solar plex, straight shots to the belly.
Yeah, I'd do a lot of work round his. I think you can get the middle. You can get jabs downstairs in the middle. Definitely the right hand under the heart. And I think backing him up. I mean, if it starts off, if Joyce comes from, they both go at each other, it will definitely end up early.
Yeah.
Ended up early.
And if Joe manages to do it, what are the two things that Joe's got to achieve?
I think he's got. I don't see Joyce knocking him out with a single shots. I don't see that happening early, even though they're heavyweights. I still really don't see that happening. Wow, I think he's got to take him into the late rounds. He's got to exhaust. I think he's got to exhaust Dubois.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I see him beating him, taking him in deep water and drowning him. I see that's the only way he's going to win. I think if he starts moving, which I've seen him do in the amateurs and that, and gets on the back foot, he might be at stay safe for a while, but it'll be him who's using too much energy.
Yeah.
As long as Dubois stays poised, Joyce has just got to do what he does to most people and wear him down.
Yeah.
But I think it's a bit of a tall order.
Right, so there we go. Other news, Billy, another fight that I know you wanted to see for a long time. One of the fights you're most excited about. It came a little bit out of the blue. Canelo and Callum, your man Callum Smith's getting his shot. Was it a big surprise to hear that news?
Well, for what's going on, I never know what's going on with Canelo these days and that, you know what I mean? And the WBC and everything, and it's been taking so long to happen. I didn't think we was going to get it, to be honest with you. But I only found out a couple of days ago. But it's a fight what I've been absolutely desperate to see for a long time. I've got a lot of history with the Smith family, obviously, and that. And I think Callum's my favourite fighter, out of the brothers. I think he's. He was all good, but I think he's the best to watch. He's the one what's got a star quality, I think. And I always used to say that. Funny enough, the two fighters who I thought would have it, because I'm a big Canelo fan. I thought he was the one who maybe really could test Canelo, and I still think it's possible that he could now. But I'm a little bit unnerved about the fight
with John Ryder.
I've always said when I talked about Callum in the past, he's much better coming forward. He needs to be able to learn a bit.
Be that tall predator that you like.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I love him because he's a tall predator. I love tall fighters who can punch, and especially to the body. And he's a great body puncher. And I was giving him a real shout. And another British guy, Billy Joe Saunders, for different reasons in a completely different fight. I see how he could give Canelo problems. They was the two fighters, and they was both British, but they were the two fighters who I thought could give Canelo the biggest tests.
Yeah.
But the Ryder fight worried me a little bit. It was really close.
But the Callum Smith that turned up for John Ryder, no offence, John, and the Callum Smith that's going to turn up for Canelo, you would expect to be totally different animals, wouldn't you?
Well, that was what I was coming to. That's what I was coming to, and because look, every fighter is entitled to a bad night.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that could have just possibly been a bad night. And it's probably the only fight when he really has had a bad night, to be honest with you. He's not put a foot wrong. He's really exciting. He's great to watch. So yeah, I'm not just going on the Ryder thing. I've always talked about him being backed up. I've always worried about him being backed up. I've always thought he had a real chance, but Canelo, I think I've seen marked improvements in Canelo, to be honest with you. Now he's fighting his
proper weight.
Yeah, I think his best weight is super middleweight. I think Canelo, his people around him, certainly. I might have done the same myself, to be honest with you. If I was with Canelo, they definitely avoided Golovkin without a doubt. I think both fighters, Golovkin and Canelo, on the best nights, Golovkin wins all night long. I think Golovkin won the first fight and possibly the second fight, but I don't know. Every time I watch that fight, I can't really pick between them and that, you know. But Golovkin's seen better days now. But I think since them Golovkin fights that he's come through them, I think has made him a better fighter. I knew he was going to knock out the Russian guy.
Kovalev.
I knew he was going to. I'm a Kovalev fan of that, but I knew that Canelo would knock him out. I knew that being at light heavy wouldn't bother him. The same as being at light heavy wouldn't bother Callum Smith. It might even make him a better fighter, to be honest with you. But I've seen a marked improvement in Canelo, and he is without a doubt an all-time great. It's a funny thing, you know. Patience is something what I really admire in a fighter. Picking your shots, picking the right time. It's essential. Are you me? And I like patient fighters. But I think Canelo's getting a little bit too patient these days. He's a little bit too patient. He's a little bit laid back. I think he was too laid back in the Kovalev fight, to be honest with you. But maybe he respected his punching power and, you know, took his time. Yeah. But look at the finish.
Yeah.
He's a murderous body puncher. I mean, I've seen people, you know, seen bending. You know, the ribs, you can see the ribs bending when he lands them shots. And to the head as well. He's a ferocious puncher. Are you asking me to pick a winner?
No, we'll do that.
Yeah, because I want to have more time, but I want to see what's going on in the training camps and whatever and that, you know. But I'm really excited about the fight. I can't wait.
What about Canelo as well? You know, when fighters become as popular as he is, and they get stick for everything, don't they? But for one thing, I don't think you can criticise Canelo for is seeking out the challenges. You know, he could have easily played the WBC's game and just fought the Turkish guy, yielded him for a vacant title, but he's gone for the guy who's number one again. Fair play to Canelo. You know, he seeks out challenges, doesn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for sure it wasn't him who was avoiding Golovkin. It was his management, and for good reason. You know, it's the smart thing to do. So other than that, no, he does cheat. He's seeped in boxing. You know what I mean? He loves this boxing. I mean, you've seen the tattoo on him. Yeah. No boxing, no life. He wants to be a legend. He's a legend already, but he wants to be I think he wants to be known as the best fighter that ever come out of Mexico. And that's a tall order. Yeah. You know what I mean?
God, who is your favourite fighter to ever come out of Mexico?
Oh, wow. God, I'm a huge fan of Mexican boxing. Since I fell in love with the bantamweights when I was a little kid, since I first seen the bantamweights, I fell in love with Mexican boxing. There's just so many. Possibly Chavez, you know. The way they fight, the style of the way they fight, you know. But I think he wants to go down as the best Mexican to come out. So I think he just wants to fight anybody. He seems to have been around a long time, but he looks so fresh. Yeah. You know? He's very clever. Like I say, I really like how patient he's become, but sometimes you can be a little bit too patient. That fight, I'm not gonna pick a winner yet, but I definitely will before it comes around. I'm just so excited that it's happening.
Yes. And we'll stick with a Mexican theme, Billy. I'm
a bit pissed off about no crowds though now.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do.
Even though I'm kind of enjoying it, hearing the shots and
it's not the same, is it?
Yeah, now I'm kind of missing it. You know, I'm missing them huge crowds. I've seen Canelo come out and Callum coming out and that, you know. But yeah, I'm really excited about the fight.
Well, let's stick with the Mexican theme for a second. And I want the first thing that comes into your head.
That could be anything.
Yeah. Well, it might just be anything here in a minute. I want the first thing that comes into your head when I say a word. Right, we'll play word association game. You ready?
I've never played this before, so go on then.
Bridgerweight.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you're talking about that fucking new weight division, aren't you? What's all that about Bridgerweight?
There's a young kid was out in the woods and his daughter got attacked by a dog, and the brave little lad, tough kid, jumped in, saved his sister, got bit in the face, and what a brave kid. That's not out the question. I can't for the life of me see how that qualifies you for having a boxing weight class named after you for eternity.
Well, tell me, but I think I know who fixed this name up. Who's done this name?
The head of the WBC,
Well,
Mr. Suleiman.
Well, fuck all will surprise me about fucking Suleiman and his fucking father. You know what I mean? It's just they just do whatever they want, and it's just become farcical. It's just become an absolute joke.
Can you see the sense in this division? Because I can't, and I'll tell you the reasons why. So this new weight class...
You're going to have to tell me about the weights, because I'm not sure about it.
You won't get anything positive from me. So we've got a new weight class which will be from between 200 and 224 £224. So it'll be between cruiserweight and heavyweight.
Yeah.
And this is according to Mr. Suleiman, this is for men who aren't quite big enough to compete with the new modern super heavyweights.
Yeah.
He seems to have totally been oblivious to the fact that Mr. Deontay Wilder's done reasonably well. Alexander Usyk...
Well, what's the limit going to be now?
224 £224.
What was it before? It was different than when I was...
Well, cruiserweight division was 190, and then they made it 200. So this new division will be from 200 to 224. So it's on top of cruiser.
Yeah, I understand that, but what's that in stones?
Oh, don't ask me that. I've got my calculator with me.
I need to get my head around it.
But what do you think about... Small heavyweights have been part of the heavyweight division for years. Look, Wilder weighs 215 and he knocks people out. Usyk weighs 215 and he's beating Chisora handily. Yeah. Look back through history, some of the greatest heavyweights have been 215, 220 pounds.
Of course.
And I know people are getting bigger, but my thing is, so what? Use your size for you. Being small can be an advantage at heavyweight. If this Suleiman gets his way, it's the end of fights like Hay against Valuev. It's the end of Usyk against Joshua.
Yeah, but Valuev couldn't fight. He was just a fucking giant.
Just a big guy.
But he couldn't fight.
And it's the end of Wilder against Fury. This division would bring an end to all that, and you would just have big, slow, cumbersome guys against big, slow, cumbersome guys. The heavyweight division for me is the excitement caused by someone using his speed and power against someone who's a big giant trying to use a jab. I just can't see any sense in this. It will weaken divisions as well. If it goes the way Suleiman thinks it will, you'll have the smaller heavyweights cutting weight to leave the heavyweight division and just leave less talented guys.
Now, for me,
I can't see a positive.
For me, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing about it. If it's going to cause people to start fucking hell doing that again, what they're doing right through boxing, right from flyweight, right the way through, taking too much weight off. If it's going to encourage that's what I'm against. I mean, I'd have to think about this a little bit more, because it is. I mean, there is some giants these days. You know what I mean? They really are giants. But like I say, most
giants in the old days.
But
with
most
people
of
like
them,
Primo Carnera.
Yeah, I know. But look at him.
But there you go. You're backing up the argument. If you're a smaller guy who can fight, you beat Primo Carnera. There's no need for another weight class.
I know, but look, John. But you've just picked two fucking monsters who, like as in Primo Carnera and Valuev.
Okay then.
They was terrible.
Well,
they was terrible.
Anthony Joshua against Alexander Usyk. Would he give him? Would that be? Is that a mismatch because of the size?
No, but Usyk's a bit special. I'd have to think about this more. I'd have to know the difference in the weights.
Wilder against Joshua. I know it's different now because obviously Wilder's been exposed a little bit. But God, 2 years ago, that was the greatest fight anyone could ever imagine. Now all of a sudden,
yeah, but he has got a freaky right hand.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you say, but I'm getting so confused now. I'd have to think about it. I've still not digested the fucking name.
The Bridgerweight.
The Bridgerweight. For fuck's sake. We could have thought something a bit more, I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And on top of this, let's carry on with the WBC. Who's the WBC lightweight champion, Billy? Is it Teofimo Lopez? Is it Devin Haney? Is it Lomachenko, who was the franchise champion?
Let me tell you something. You're talking. Look, I'm an old guy. I've been watching boxing all my life. I'm getting really confused.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Can tell.
It's just really confusing me. So what is it doing to the man in the street? I think what they do, and when they're making all these things, they know that the man in the street who's just casually watches boxing doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But it's just too much. And this champion, and all that. I don't know. The franchise champion and all that lot. Underwater, overland, knee trembling champion. Fucking everything. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just too confused.
But Mr.
I'm pretty confused today, though.
Mr. Suleiman assures everybody it's not for profit. You know, the WBC are a non-profit organisation, Billy. So it's not being done for sanctioning fees.
So what is it being done for? It's not done for non-profit making organisation.
Yeah, it's being done for the good of the sport.
If the WBC is a non-profit making organisation, I'll show my fucking ass. In fact, I'm going to do it now because I'm not on camera. There, have a look at that.
Oh, there we go. I'm at my wit's end with the WBC.
Me
But
too.
anyway, what else, Billy? Anything else? I'll tell you what we'll talk about. Quick, we'll squeeze it in. A big, excellent fight coming up next week. Anthony Yarde and Lyndon Arthur, beautiful boxer from Pat Barrett's gym.
Oh yeah, I've seen. Yeah,
This is a real fight.
I'm really interested. I'm really interested in that.
Yeah.
I think Lyndon Arthur is very good. Sometimes he's a little bit too laid back, but there's no way he'll be laid back when he's in with him. Yeah, that's a great fight.
Yeah.
That's a great fight.
I think lots of people are looking past Arthur for some reason and just building towards Yarde against Joshua Buatsi next year. But if Lyndon Arthur gets that jab, I think it's the best jab in British boxing. If Lyndon Arthur gets that jab working, Yarde, as you mentioned earlier, not much amateur experience. He's got some serious questions to answer, and remains to be seen whether he can do it or not.
When is that?
Week after, next week.
Oh.
So I can't wait for it.
Well, Arthur's been after that fight for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah.
What's it for?
Commonwealth title.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. You don't have to pick a winner now about that.
No.
I mean, oh God.
What have you made of Yarde against Kovalev, and how you think he's come back from that? What do you remember of the Yarde Kovalev fight?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, well, I've watched it a couple of times. Look, Kovalev was ready to be taken anyway. Do you know what I mean? But he did give it a real go. You know what I mean? I can't fault him for that. But like I said, Kovalev was damaged goods, I'd say, by then. You know what I mean? I think that's why Canelo took the fight. And another reason why Canelo took the fight. Look, what can I say? Anthony Yarde is devastating. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's knocking everybody out. He's quick. He's really dangerous. I think there's more. I think there's more light heavyweights who, I don't know, who'd give him more problems than. I think if he's not too laid back, Lyndon Arthur, I think he's a really dangerous fight for Yarde. I wouldn't like to bet on the fight, to be honest with you. But
I think Yarde's got to go off. Yarde's got to go off the favourite, but
he'll definitely be the betting favourite because
you've got
how explosive he can be.
He's so explosive. He nearly stopped Kovalev. So that's every fighter he's fought. He's had in serious trouble. Arthur was brought along slowly, as Pat Barrett likes to do. He had that tough night when he fought the Ghanaian for the Commonwealth title, where he got rocked for the first time. Couple of injury problems there, but it was effortless when he boxed on BT last time.
Yeah, he's good.
Dex Spellman, and we're going to see the best ever Lyndon Arthur. I just think this could be a real special fight. This.
Yeah, I do. I think I'm really glad to see him fight in the domestic fight at Yarde, to be honest with you. I think there was better opponents for him in this country than a lot of the fighters that he was bringing in. So I'm pleased that he is being in a big domestic fight. Arthur, I like him, but I think he needs to show a little bit more urgency, to be honest with you. But I think he'll have no choice about that when he fights Yarde.
He'll have to.
So that's a real exciting fight. I wouldn't like to bet my jar on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we'll give a week late, but just before we finish, we'll give Denzel Bentley a shout. I always like British champions getting crowned, especially in the big divisions like middleweight. And Denzel beat Mark Efron for the middleweight title. And I think Denzel's got that potential where he could go on a little bit. You know, he's a big character. He's got power. He's got speed. He improved from the first fight, which you like to see, don't you?
Yeah.
And he looks like he's got a little bit of something, Denzel.
Yeah, he certainly did. I was quite impressed. But okay, the eye was caused by a punch, but that did play a huge part in the fight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It really did. Okay, you can't. It was an impressive performance. I mean, he couldn't miss with that right hand, but for obvious reasons, to be honest with you, it was caused by a punch, so that's fair and square. And he did what he had to do, but he really had a wounded guy in front of him, because before it was closed. People don't realise your eye doesn't have to be closed tight before you can't see out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just the swelling, with the bruising hanging down, and that it fucks up your vision. You know what I mean? So as soon as that first right hand landed, it fucked up his vision. So yeah, it was very impressive about the kid. He definitely improved from the second fight, but I could be able to say more if that bruise wouldn't have happened, but that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
You know, so he didn't win by default, but Efren really didn't have much of a chance to get in the fight, to be honest with you, because of the eyes. So just a little bit.
Just temper it a little bit.
Yeah, just temper it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there we go. That's the end of the latest episode. Don't forget, at PreachersPod on Twitter. You can email us, preacherspod@gmail.com. We're on VIP and Boxing Social. And if you know me, just send me a text if you want anything answering. And we'll see you next time.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.